Hey guys, Nick here. You're listening to the official podcast of 4PlayerNetwork.com, a weekly live show about video games. We're proud to say that we've been at this since 2008 and have remained 100% independent since day one, and that means you'll never have to hear a sponsored ad on this show. So if you want to support what we do, all we ask is that you consider making our silly little show part of your weekly rotation. You can tune in when we record these episodes live every Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central Time on twitch.tv/4playerpodcast, all spelled out. If that's not your thing, though, you can also subscribe to the show on your preferred podcast service, join our community Discord at discord.gg/4player, or, if you're so inclined, send us a couple bucks a month on Patreon. And that's it for shameless self-promotion. Time to talk about the latest and greatest in the world of video games. Let's get started. Hey everybody, welcome to 4Player Podcast. This is episode 865. It is February 19th, 2026. I'm your host, Nick Henderson, joined tonight by Brad Simons.
Hello.
Christopher Guthridge.
Hello.
And Christopher Davis. Oh my
Good
god.
Good evening.
What?
The photoshops that you put in the background of your thing usually contain my face on things, which is great. But now it's like, it's because I've seen this exact version of this Photoshop with my face, but now somebody's taken Dexter's face and put it on Tony Soprano. That's Tony Soprano, right?
You see Dexter?
There it is. There it is.
There it is.
That's me. That's my real hairline. All right. Anyways, hey everybody, welcome to the show. Video games. We're here to talk about them as always. Before we get to it, first of all, we do have a lot to talk about impressions wise, and I was under the impression that we didn't have much news to talk about, but apparently a big news story happened this afternoon that I completely missed. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Sadly, we'll talk about the unexpected closure of Bluepoint games, which, what a gut punch. But we also have some fun games to talk about. We have Reanimal. We have Sons of Sparta, God of War, Sons of Sparta. I don't know why I get tongue-tied trying to say that. And Mewgenics. We're finally going to talk about Mewgenics. So a lot of big stuff to talk about tonight.
Mewgenics.
Mewgenics, not to be confused with the other thing that I said.
Yeah.
Before we get started, of course, I want to make a couple quick announcements here. One, we're actively working on Game of the Year videos. I know since Chris Davis stopped sending out his October email, we've slipped right back into our previous bullshit schedule for these things. So expect our videos to start coming out by the end of the month, probably, hopefully, maybe.
They will.
And into March. Yeah.
Chris Davis is just as much as part of the delay as anybody else.
But I got tired of the threats on my life is what happened.
No.
But that's how we operate. The thing is, the threats on your life were just fun games. When you stopped doing them, we were like, what's wrong? Where did it go?
October is a feel bad move. If those emails went out on December 1st, I think we would have always been fine.
At the very least, even November 1st. October is a little premature. Maybe we can find the right sweet spot.
I sent plenty of them in November and plenty of them in December too.
The point is, we're hard at work on the videos, i.e. Chris Davis is hard at work on the videos because he is our video producer. So thank you, Chris Davis. Also, we are in the midst of a rebranding and everything. So Chris Davis and I are having some back and forth, getting the new assets and everything ready for these videos. So they're going to look a little bit different than they usually do. So all these things take time. That is to say, when they do come out, we hope you watch them. 2025 was a pretty awesome year, I would say, in the world of gaming. So there's some good stuff to talk about there. So I hope you guys watch them.
It had at least one good video game.
At least one, but there will be many spoken about on said video. I do also want to mention I have locked myself into I'm going to launch the new website, whether it's ready or not, on Sunday, February 22nd. That's in 48 hours, basically. So it's like 95% ready. I could have probably pulled the trigger on it already, but I'm like anal retentive about some things. So anyways, 4playernetwork.com will be back up and running at the end of the weekend. I hope you guys check it out. Keep that in mind. If you're listening to this at home, like after it's gone live on like Monday or whatever, it's out. Go check it out. 4playernetwork.com. But more importantly, Discord is really where it's at. That's where you should be. That's where we're all hanging out. All the time, talking about games, talking about movies, talking about Battlestar Galactica, and things of that nature. You can find us at discord.gg/4player.
We start with God of War. I think we need.
We can actually start with an icebreaker question first, and then we can do God of War. So, Popular Advantage from Minnesota sends in this question. He said, Popular Advantage. He says, is there a game that could be made into a TV show or movie that most people wouldn't think of being good? I would feel like Twisted Metal very easily falls into this category. Like, who the fuck would have thought that would have come out and been good? But now it's got 2 seasons.
But it is weird that it exists.
What if they made an FTL show and it's about like following the ship?
They basically already did that. I mean, they basically already did that.
And they're being chased across the galaxy
by robots,
a fleet of powerful enemies. But the writing's good.
Whoa,
that's the kicker. Damn.
I'm just joking.
I mean, let's be honest.
First couple seasons were.
I'm not gonna harp on that one because it is a Ronald D. Moore show, and
it is a show that gets bad. I'm never gonna.
That is the man who gave us Star Trek: Deep Space Nine, so I'm not gonna.
Yeah, and wrote a lot of TNG too.
To bring it back to the question at hand, though, video games that could unexpectedly become good TV shows. I would say most video games that could be adapted into good TV shows are probably ones you wouldn't expect, because they've tried all the obvious
imaginative
ones.
Enough to think
about
of that.
Mewgenics.
Oh, I would not want to watch that show. The first thing that happened in Mewgenics is like my cats did incest. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
Well, that took a turn. What about something like Hades? Wow. I mean, although that actually feels like it would fall very firmly into the category of like Castlevania becoming an anime or something.
This is the exact opposite of like the Dispatch problem. Dispatch should have been a show, not a game.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. What about
there is a Mass Effect show in the works at Amazon right now.
But that's expected.
The Spire show would be any good.
See, you got to go for like real deep cuts that sound weird to the like when they hit your ears, that make you go, "What the fuck?" That wouldn't be good.
Oh, okay.
But like maybe
is that what you do? No, I don't think that you have to do that. I think like
what about fuck it? I'm looking at my list of like games I've played.
You have to be able to see a spark of like good storytelling in there, though, right?
Lorelei and the Laser Eyes.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you make like a kid show, I think like Donkey Kong Bonanza. You know, a lot of Nintendo stuff has been turned into TV shows.
But the question is not which one should be turned into TV shows. The question is, what are some games that most people wouldn't assume would make good TV shows? That could be adapted.
Desktop Survivors 98.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if that's, I would have to. That'd be one hell of a pitch.
I
mean, I feel like Vampire Survivors is one of those games that if you adapted it would look and sound and resemble.
It would just be Castlevania.
It would be nothing like the game.
A Cruelty Squad show would be.
No. What? Some like Adult Swim slop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I'd love to see an XCOM
It's hard to
show.
answer because like you don't think of
Nubby's Number Factory.
What? No, I don't. What is that show? What is the show?
I don't know.
Blueprints could be a cool show. Killer 7 in the name of.
But I don't think it would be a good show, right? Dude, like I don't think Nubby's Number Factory would be a good show, but maybe someone could make it. And it would be cool.
In the name of Harmon, says Killer 7. Of course, his name is in the name of Harmon. All of Suda's stuff, honestly, because he don't make good video games, but like I think those would be some good shows. You know, I just kind of want to watch them. I don't want to play them.
This would be fucking weird, but Burnout Paradise.
What?
I feel like you got Burnout.
It'd be a horrific show. Like there's no people in those things. I guess
car accidents.
Yeah. No.
Horrible car accidents.
Yeah, that got dark really fast, actually. Oh man,
there's no people. They introduced motorcycles into that universe, and there was no people driving them. Wait, no, there was. There was people.
Yeah.
And
where did they go when the crash happened? Where did they go when the crash happened?
The people.
I think they just ragged all them across the map, and they focus on the motorcycle wreck.
Whoa.
They just disappear.
Really? Do they have people?
Thanks. Yeah, I remember it happening.
Well, it's like Rocket League. There's no people in Rocket League.
Yeah.
They're remote control. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, even like in the stands, it's like.
Yeah, that's weird. That's dark.
Cars.
Ooh.
Right?
Would a Plague Tale be a good TV show? I feel like that.
Oh, fuck yeah, it would.
No, shut
but
up.
That's very cinematic. That's like obvious, right? That's not.
Yeah, I guess
not obvious.
It's harder to. Yeah, it's really hard to find.
Dude,
like
fucking Into the Breach. That's a show I want to watch. That's just huge fucking mechs and giant bugs.
Yeah.
Tactical Breach Wizards.
Well, yeah.
It's got a colorful cast of characters that could be fun to cast.
A good show.
Yeah. I like that answer. I think that's the
okay.
Correct
I
answer.
think we answered the question.
Yeah, I think we've reached a consensus here. Tactical Breach Wizards, which was as I announced, I think last week or maybe the week before, was officially our 2024 Game of the Year.
What? Really?
Just, yeah. Per our usual bullshit scoring record.
Pretty high.
Yeah. Tactical Breach Wizards. All right. Brad has requested that we start tonight with God of War: Sons of Sparta, which I think is appropriate.
I wasn't gonna buy this.
But
to be clear here, this is going to be partly a fantasy critic conversation while we talk about this game. I did pick it up.
Fucked.
I did pick it up for this. I did buy the game so I could talk about it on the podcast. Because it is.
Did you feel an obligation to do that because it was on your roster?
I felt an obligation to discuss the game because I don't think anybody else was going to do it, and it's like it went from like an unknown thing to a bit of a fantasy critic tragedy, but it's still really interesting what happened, how this played out, right? Because it was rumored for a long time via reliable sources, Tom Henderson and Jeff Grubb both confirmed that they heard this thing existed. Now 2.5D floated around for a while. This game is certainly not 2.5D. And it was also an unannounced. It got delayed. Like this was something that some people were already picking up last year for Fantasy Critic, and then they decided this year because once it got delayed, that usually is a sign that it's coming out really soon.
And you drafted this, didn't you?
No, I didn't.
As an unannounced.
The thing is, I was planning to draft it. I literally forgot about it because it wasn't like a very high. It wasn't a top pick, so it wasn't on like the first handful of pages on Fantasy Critic when you were looking at the list. I had it on one of my lists. I just sort of forgot it because my whole idea this year was, I'm kind of trying to be a little more bold, like not play it so fucking safe. I don't know, not be so nerdy about my picks. And this one, an unannounced game that we think is real, is exciting. A couple of years ago, Jeff Grubb gave me and the rest of the world the tip about Astrobot, and I picked that up for $1 because y'all didn't believe. I mean, it wasn't announced, right? And unannounced games you can get for cheap because most people don't want to fuck with unannounced games.
We were trigger. We were. What do you call it? We were gun shy when it comes to
yeah. And that's fair. Games, but to me,
unless
that tells me that Jeff Grubb
playing Mortal Kombat.
But to me, kind of like how people trust that Dust Golem does actually have sources at Capcom. At that point, that Jeff Grubb knows somebody at Sony who's saying that Astrobot exists. To me, that's like, okay, well, his Sony source is reliable. So I'm like, I'll pick up this 2D God of War game. When I did that, I wasn't envisioning, including the rest of the world, something very different than what Sons of Sparta is. Because we were expecting, I think this to be more like actual, like, God of War original trilogy Kratos and less like teen Kratos, which is crazy.
So this is teen Kratos before he becomes a god, right?
Boy Kratos. This is boy Kratos before he becomes a god. Long before he becomes a god. This is him and his brother as children, and they're aspiring like Spartans, and it's a 2D Metroidvania. It's not 2.5D, but importantly, I think at the time we also thought maybe like Sony Santa Monica was involved, which they are apparently involved. But really, this is an indie game farmed out to an indie studio that has like a mixed track record.
Which I would imagine is because they're full steam ahead on the next like full God of War title.
Sure. But I just thought it was going to be a smaller project by a smaller team at the studio, kind of like Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, right? Which was a game that
which would have been sick.
Which when this game was rumored, that was what was being thrown around, kind of like a Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. We heard it was a Metroidvania and everything, and that was the one that was kind of like talked about a lot. It was the hot Metroidvania at the time from a big publisher like Ubisoft, like Sony, right? And I think that's what people were envisioning in their heads. Maybe even like a fancier version of that, because when you think of God of War, you think of spectacle and like larger than life anything, right? The first thing I noticed when I watched the trailer of this is everything seems really small, which just feels wrong for God of War. Even the bosses feel small. Like, why is this boss that's towering over tiny Kratos still only like a third of the size of the screen? It seems very not God of War. But whatever.
Well, I think
if I had to guess, when you play as Teen Kratos, it looks very low budget, and
is the emphasis not on trying to make the environments feel bigger as opposed to like the monsters?
I mean, it's not that either. Like I'm not going to like give this game any sort of like the benefit of the doubt or make any excuses. Like this is a genre that is very well represented in the indie space from studios much better than Mega Cat Studios, I guess. And the truth is that this game, we just came off of playing like Silk Song and shit. Like it's not fair to like compare it to that. But honestly, I've been playing, this has been like my genre of choice outside of like strategy RPGs and tactics games, like for a very, very long time. I'm a Castlevania and Metroid guy. The namesake of the fucking genre. I played a lot of these, right? And this ain't one of the greats. It ain't one of the greats, right? And I don't know if I was ever expecting that. I didn't expect that out of like Prince of Persia, but Prince of Persia really wowed me and wowed everybody else. Look. Elephant in the room is that this game is scored quite poorly. In fact, it's been going down. Right now, I think it's currently at 67.
When I first saw it, it was like 76, I think, and it just steadily dropped.
So as I've been playing this game, which I've played like 4 to 5 hours, maybe, it feels like a mid-70s Metroidvania. It honestly feels like nothing.
Which,
honestly, like the genre bar has been very raised, like very much raised, and this ain't that. It's a little clunky, but the spear combat feels pretty good. It's very block and counter based. You're a Spartan, so you have a big Spartan shield and a Spartan spear or whatever, right? And so it's all about defense and then attacking and lunging, and it's not innovative, but it feels pretty good, right? And you do start to get some godlike abilities that sort of fill out your Metroidvania kit, but even then it's not very like flashy. Like this is for a series that is very flashy and like full of spectacle. This is a very feels like a very conservative Metroidvania, which just kind of feels
not
wrong.
Something you ever really want to be, not a term you really want used to describe a
God
of War game.
It is pretty story driven, but and it is fully voice acted and everything, but like the voice acting feels a little like you're hanging out with your brother a lot. He's not really next to you when you're adventuring, but he shows up at like story moments. Like you're searching for someone who went missing in this Spartan town or whatever, right? And no, for some reason, no one's looking for him. So you're going to be the ones looking for him. So you are kind of like splitting up a lot and like coming together. So he kind of shows up for all like the story sequences, and he just sort of walks into screen and everything stops for a second as y'all have a chat. And his voice acting doesn't seem that great. He sounds way more like a snivelly teenager than you do. You're like, you're not like Kratos, but you're a bit of a self-serious teenager who takes his duty to Sparta very seriously, right?
I thought you were talking about one of us. I was like, bitch, who are you calling a sniveling teenager? And then I was like, oh, I get it. Kratos.
I mean,
sorry, I misinterpreted what you said.
You clearly.
Wait, is this not the original voice actor from the original trilogy, or is that?
No, it's a fucking teenager. Now,
I know.
TC Carson, the original Kratos. TC Carson narrates, like, so he's telling a story to Calliope, right? And that's this story. So it's sort of like the, Princess Bride
he is
framing
involved
or whatever. Yeah, he's telling the story, and sometimes it cuts to that conversation, right, where she's like interrupting and whatnot, and he's like girl or whatever the fuck he says. TC Carson would never say girl. He's so. Can we talk about TC Carson? Oh, we talked about him last week, right? That dude had so much aura at the fucking State of Play, man. That guy's sick.
Yeah.
Bring that Kratos back. Or just let him be.
Well, they're remaking the trilogy.
But we know what that Kratos is, and that Kratos kind of sucks. I just want TC Carson in the game, like as himself. Guy was cool. He had a nice sweater and everything. What was going on there? Do you think they wanted him to dress differently? I bet they did for his video. Whatever.
He's like they wanted him to, and he was like, "No, this is what I'm wearing."
You're getting TC.
You think
this is TC? Yeah, I could just. He seems like a guy who talks about himself in the third person.
I gotta be TC at 10.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice sweater. Look, man, I don't know. I think people are out for blood. I
gotta go look at the sweater again.
What is this?
think because during the State of Play, the whole God of War thing was hosted by TC Carson. Anyways,
I looked up the voice actor for young Kratos, and it's Anthony Del Rio, and he actually played Kratos previously.
What?
Young Kratos before? Yeah, I mean,
in God of War Ascension.
They're trying to. This is related to, like Deimos, your brother is. I mean, there was like a whole game about him, Ghosts of Sparta or whatever, right? But whatever. It's besides the fucking point. Is that this game is like a pretty average Metroidvania with some like neat ideas. It's not like very flashy. It's honestly a little bland looking, bad looking, muted maybe. I don't know. It's not a very fancy looking game, and I think because it's coming,
it looks kind of blasphemous to me.
Okay,
but not as
that's
nice.
a fucking insult. Blasphemous is gorgeous.
Blasphemous?
Yes, it's an insult to Blasphemous. Blasphemous is a game that, like,
I said,
its visuals are some of like the best parts about it.
I don't disagree with you.
The visuals are one of the worst parts about this game, truthfully.
That's not nice. I don't think this game looks that bad.
Look, I want to be clear here. There is on topic. There are people being very not nice to this game, and I think because Sony Santa Monica's on it, because this is God of War is a premier first party franchise from Sony, that it there are certain expectations, I think, and because this game is like pretty far below what I guess expectations, or at least what people were envisioning in their head. Because, like I said, this game was long rumored. I think people are like kind of out for blood a little bit, because it does feel like a game that's like a mid-70s Metroidvania that has now slipped into the 60s. And I'm like, look, dog, it ain't that bad.
Was the Metroidvania part of it always part of the rumors, or was there?
Yeah, it was always part of the rumors. Always part of the rumors.
So no one ever thought this was like the third God of War, but now they're going back.
I think people expected something more flashy though. Like, but at the very least, Prince of Persia, or like, remember when Lords of Shadows had like a side-scrolling Metroidvania? It was very like, Lords of Shadows was already like a God of War knockoff, right? One of the things I hated about it, and they sort of translated that to like side-scrolling, but it still had like very God of War-y type combat. I'm just saying there was a lot of things swirling in my head, and this sure as shit wasn't it. And
I think some people have forgotten though that there have already been a handful of God of War projects that feel not as grand as the core series. Yeah, like the Ghosts of Sparta game that you talked about.
But for PSP games, those were like the craziest looking games on PSP. Like, it's always been a visually spectacular series.
I think maybe the platform
really high.
Maybe the platform is the problem, because we're not. If this came out and it was like on a hand, well, I guess no. I mean, because.
No, like I'm saying, like I play a lot of Metroidvanias, and like this would feel dated even for a 10-year-old Metroidvania. It feels old and looks dated. Like the bar has been raised, and like God of War is always a series that has scored, like, outside of like God of War Ascension, over like 90, right? Like the core series is a extremely well received.
Even those PSP games.
those are like some of the highest rated PSP games. Absolutely. I mean, there was a handheld tax, right? All handheld games get scored a little bit lower, but I mean, the truth is, absolutely, yeah. Like those are very well received games all around. This is not. It was never even ever close to like 67, which seems crazy. Not that it should be scoring like mid to 80s to low 90s. I don't think that it deserves that either. But this seems like something that feels like a 75 or something, but
Right.
is being sort of taken to task a little bit. And I think part of it is because it's like very visually unspectacular. But I mean,
Man, no.
I don't. What do you want? What do you? I mean, what? It's not. You
Every
can't be
time
like
you
Prince
say
of
that,
Persia
I'm looking at the
looks
screen and I'm like, this actually looks kind of visually stunning to me. But that's just me.
visually stunning. You boot this shit up on your PS4 and you tell me that again, or your PS5.
That is fair. That is fair. I am not playing it on it, but I'm like I am a general fan of the general like art style. And
Zero Skies in chat says God of War Chains of Olympus is a 91. I don't think like that's not even a mainline game. Like no mainline game, a God of War game has ever scored below 90.
I don't think I've ever cared about a God of War game outside of the like core trilogy and the new games. And I've played all of them except for
fair. I mean, I guess a lot of people are like that, but I mean,
I know.
I'm saying like in the this is way below those God of War games on PSP, which were good. They're good games.
But I do think there's a part of this reception that is, I mean, you're probably right. Like people got it in their head they were expecting the Lost Crown, and because it's not the Lost Crown, they're just like ripping in a new asshole.
It does feel like it's being ripped a new asshole, and you can disagree with me on the visuals, but like it's almost on the internet, it's almost all people are complaining about is how it looks ugly.
It was a shadow drop too, which I think is
so this is the Fantasy Critics storyline, right? The thing is, nobody knew what this game looked like, and then they just shadow dropped it, which means if you had it in your league, you couldn't drop it. Like you just were stuck with it, right? Any other announcement, you could be like, well, this certainly wasn't what I was expecting. This looks like shit. I'm going to drop it at the end of the week. I couldn't do that. I absolutely would have. I was not impressed by what I saw. I was horrified by what I saw at the State of Play.
I will say this. I'm having trouble trying to like gauge your actual feelings on this game because sometimes it sounds like you're saying the game is not that bad.
No, it's a middling Metroidvania, which isn't good enough for this genre anymore. Like I pass on these all the time. Like there's so many Metroidvanias.
Well, there's too many of them.
I have played so many good ones. I don't want to play a mediocre one of these. And if it wasn't for the podcast, I would not have bought this. I would not have played this. I probably wouldn't have played it even as far as I did, mostly because right now I'm playing like really good and addictive video games, namely Neo 3 and Mewgenics. And it feels bad because I want to be playing those games, but
I admire your dedication
I'm a podcast
to the cause.
homie. I play games for the podcast, right?
Also, I think it was worthwhile doing because it's on your league, and it is interesting.
But not even for that. I think in general, it's just kind of an interesting release. As Shadow dropped, you know how like everybody went out and bought fucking what's the fucking Tango game? The fucking Shadow Drop Tango game. Hi-Fi Rush, right?
Hi-Fi Rush.
Like, the game just fucking out. There was some excitement to just go out and buy it and play it. There's some people talking shit that this is $30, and I don't know, maybe Nick thinks it's gorgeous, but does this look like a $30 game to you?
I mean,
people seem pissed.
We could have that conversation. Was it really $20? It was $20, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's horseshit. There are a lot of indie devs who are pissed about that one, but
because they can afford to release their game at $20 because everybody under the sun is going to buy it. So it'll.
Eat cheese in chat, you motherfucker. He said, Brad, you were going to have to buy this game at the end of the year anyway, implying that I'm going to be in last place for Fantasy Critic and have to play my lowest reviewed game.
Yeah, I feel like taking one L is maybe you're jumping the gun a little bit, thinking Brad's going to be in last place after taking one L in February.
He said the game looks boring, and like truth is like that might be the game's biggest flaw is that it's a little slow at times, but it's not bad, and it's like just challenging enough. And here's a thing that I would say is like a really good like a thumbs up that is a side effect of this being published by Sony. And it's funny because I think I was just talking about this with Neo 3, which is a Sony published franchise. So it has a lot of like those accessibility options. I think I was talking about that last week. Because this is a Sony first party published game, like there's a ton of options like customization, accessibility, just lots of like tweaking the HUD, like all kinds of stuff, because that's sort of like the Sony first party expectation. And I'm certainly not used to that in a Metroidvania. Like you can turn off turn off guided mode. You can turn off the HUD. You can turn off like all the different pop-ups that pop up. And that's really cool. And I definitely felt like I have with some of those Team Ninja games, like Rise of the Ronin, which was also Sony published, like going into the menu and like heavily tweaking it, in my opinion, like really improved that experience, at least with Rise of the Ronin and to a certain extent, the Neo games. And here I could see you could have a very different experience, like playing this game with everything turned on versus like this game with a lot of stuff turned off on like hard or something. One of the most annoying parts of it is the UI. I like God of War 2018 a lot. Ragnarok, I'm less high on, but I do think it's a good game. One of the worst parts about those games, in my opinion, is the menu UI, which not only is like weirdly confusing and like annoying to navigate, but it doesn't even feel like it's like part of that universe. It just feels like a little too modern and sleek, and it just feels bad. And that stuff is in this game. Like they tried to emulate like that sort of clean, boxy modern God of War UI, and it doesn't work at all, right?
It is a bit of an odd design choice.
Yeah, old Kratos, like his level up bar was just like fucking blood dripping from his stupid fucking chains of Olympus, right? Which PS2 and that PS2 Kratos felt appropriate, like fill up the fucking blood meter and get the next skill. Like that's what I want out of this. Not fucking that sleek Ragnarok, boxes everywhere. It just feels wrong. And because it's not doing nearly as much. It just looks a little like empty too at times. This feels like a game that was this indie devs project that Sony stepped in to try to like juice it up a little. And I feel like those two things like merging feels really wrong. Like I feel like the UI and all the pop-ups and stuff feel like stuff was added late. Another thing is the music in this game ranges from like as if this game was on like a Super Nintendo God of War, like not quite like chip tunes, but like certainly very like 90s video gaming music, which maybe is what they were going for, like the dev the whole fucking time this is like a regular God of War ass track from like a modern God of War game. And I think they actually brought in Bear McCreary to like do some of the music. And let me tell you, jumping back and forth between those types of songs feels fucking weird. So weird. Like they tried to turn this into something that it wasn't, and it's kind of off-putting, like strange, off-putting. But that might be the Sony Santa Monica like trying to salvage a project they didn't think was gonna pop. And sure enough, I don't think it did pop. And I don't think they saved it. I think they might have just made it a little more weird. I don't know. It's not working. But it ain't a 67. It ain't a 67.
It is definitely the first interesting release like story of the year. I was just
High Guard, right? I think High Guard was the first weird controversial thing. I mean that game's already like they laid off almost all those people. It's not gone yet, but
their website is down now.
Is that
well? If you go, it's just a splash page that's just like
and the Discord link in that splash page goes to a Discord channel that's not the official High Guard Discord channel. So like what?
Jesus. Sorry, we're getting off topic here. That's
also their secret investor was Tencent. So,
Tencent. It was a Tencent game.
But
it wasn't indie after all.
Truth is, if this almost feels like a handheld game in a world where like Sony still has a handheld, right? But even then, again, God of War was a spectacular handheld game, so this shouldn't. it doesn't really feel like a God of War game, and maybe it shouldn't be a God of War game, and maybe that's why people are coming down hard on it. It's just kind of a average Metroidvania, and let me tell you, as an unannounced game that we had never seen before, that I believed was real and turned out to be real, I think it was a cool Fantasy Critic pickup for kind of my vibe this year, right?
Yeah.
But again, everybody, even the people who counterpicked it, because a lot of people counterpicked it because people like to counterpick unannounced games because they are like, well, I don't believe that exists because I have not seen it. No one was expecting this. No one was expecting a tragedy. All the counterpickers were just hoping it wouldn't come out. It didn't exist. And now they're like, oh yeah. This is my plan the whole time was that it was going to be dog shit. No, you fucking assholes. It's
hindsight is 20/20.
Exactly.
Not everything can be Mortal Kombat 12.
Okay, first of all, that was Mortal Kombat 1, right? Mortal Kombat 1, bro. That was the whole thing. 1.
No rebuttal for Chris Davis. Okay.
Yes, you got that.
Before we talk Mewgenics, I have a new game I want to talk about. Because I played through Reanimal over the weekend. This is the new game from Tarsier, which is the studio that made Little Nightmares. And we've seen this game pop up quite a bit over the past year or so leading up to it, and it's one of those weird things because last year they released Little Nightmares 3, not from this studio. What was the studio that worked on that?
Supergiant or Super something?
Yeah,
Supermassive.
Supermassive.
Have a tattoo. You got your Supermassive tattoo removed? What the fuck?
Shut up. Supermassive came out and did Little Nightmares 3. Reanimal is from the original creators of Little Nightmares, new IP, but it looks like if you had just slapped Little Nightmares 3 on this, I don't think anybody would have flinched, which is kind of weird. It's like we have two Little Nightmares 3s out there in the world.
You're saying like if this was Little Nightmares 3,
nobody would have questioned it.
It would still be like a glow up for the series, though, right? Like,
yeah,
I mean, slightly higher production than Little Nightmares 1 and 2.
But
or no?
Little Nightmares has a very distinct visual style that this is 100% using.
Absolutely.
Like it's got the same.
This is a Little Nightmares game.
Yeah, it's a Little Nightmares game with just with some big set pieces worked in, and it does genuinely try some things that I don't think if I recall. I've played Little Nightmares 1 or 2. I don't remember them super clearly, but I don't think there was combat of any kind in those games.
There was.
Was there?
Yeah, well, I mean, there was like you had like a sledgehammer, and you were like beating up porcelain dolls in the second one. Sledgehammer? You were like smashing dolls in the second one. I think there was.
Well,
like
if that's the case, because 2 is the one I remember the least.
Yeah. It wasn't like the whole game or anything, but there was definitely some...
And I'm not saying this game is either. I guess that just means that the gap is narrowing even further between Little Nightmares and Reanimal. Because the things that stood out to me that made this unique were the fact that there are sequences where you are fighting enemies and you can sometimes you get attacked by birds and you have to like defend yourself against flocks of birds and stuff. But it's all very, very simple, and like 90% of the game is kind of like that haunted house kind of just like buckle up and go for the ride kind of thing.
Big monstrous things, right?
Big monstrous things creepy. Following like every chapter kind of has its own like big bad that you have to like evade and stuff, and that's very Little Nightmares. And kind of it does some cool things because narratively speaking, because obviously the game doesn't have any the series has never had this like very upfront. It's never upfront about its storytelling. It's all very kind of like there's no dialogue really. It's very minimal in dialogue anyways, and you're just kind of like watching these things unfold and happen, and they're often like horrifying. It feels like you're running through like a dream, having like a weird trip.
There is talking in this one, right?
there is a little
the
bit of
first two
talking.
had zero speaking.
Yeah, I think the main differentiator here is that like the story has you kind of like meeting up with other kids because like you start out by yourself, you wake up on this boat, you meet another character very early on, or actually while you're still on the boat, and you're kind of like trying to escape this place. And as you're going through it, you're finding more of your friends, and they're kind of joining your group. By the end of the game, you have like 4 or 5 people following you, and they'll say things to each other periodically. But
Out
it's
loud.
it's out loud. Yeah, it's spoken, but it's all
But
very
minimal, like Mr.
very
Bean
minimal.
style.
Sure, yeah, it's very. In fact, sometimes it's kind of surprising when they talk. It's like, oh god, I forgot you could talk. It's very strange. But like, I guess what I'll this game is really cool, but not
It's
for
not very
anything. Like,
ambitious.
it's not very like it doesn't feel ambitious because it is literally Little Nightmares, but like it does some really cool things narratively. Like there's this weird like um as things start to happen that they're showing you like bits and pieces of this flashback that looks like these that kind of suggests that these kids it's kind of hard to interpret. It looks like these kids threw a sheep down a well. Like
Ugh.
and part of me I was like, is this about like animal cruelty or something? And this is like I was
I think
trying to
that's
like kind of
part
like
of it. Like that thematically. I mean, it's Reanimal. Ever since the reveal, it definitely seemed like animal
yeah, I mean
torture or tortured animals were a part of the.
there are lots of like creepy misshapen animals that are like pretty horrifying in this game. But then there's also like the same kind of like big tall slender man looking dude that like chases you around and
Man,
and
this
stuff.
is
So
like
I don't know.
this is all about the meat packing industry. I get it. I get it.
I mean maybe. I mean it does play
It's
pretty
the
fast and
jungle.
loose with like I mean it's one of those games where you play it and you're like, I'm not entirely sure what the message was here explicitly, but I like what it was doing and how it was going about doing it.
I don't want to get into it, but this is kind of always how I felt about this series is that I think they're pretty into like their horror imagery, but there ain't much there beyond that. This feels like the Journey clones of Limbo clones. What am I trying to say?
What I will say,
like Sword of the Sea is to Journey as this is to Limbo.
sure.
Like visually interesting, but not much beyond that.
They do go big with the set pieces in this game, though, compared to Little Nightmares,
which is what I was expecting. Yeah,
there are big. There's like one area where you're driving around this kind of like open city on a boat, and you have harpoons, and there's monsters coming out of the water, and you're shooting them with the harpoons. And you have to switch between using your lantern to guide yourself and switching to the harpoons to fight.
So Doom 3 like.
Yeah, and then there's like a giant puzzle you have to do in this big open area full of water. But then there's also like a sequence later on in the game with like a tank and shit. Like it gets pretty crazy and
this is
it
what
gets
appealed
pretty
to me about
varied.
it. Like I feel like the trailers were pretty good for this. This is one that I was surprised no one picked up in Fantasy Critic because it always seemed like it's probably not going to score lower than Little Nightmares 1 or 2. It's probably going to be around there, right? Or it could even go higher,
which makes it like an 80.
Like a bigger production. Well, I mean,
sure. The only reason I didn't draft it is because I was trying to be more ambitious. I was trying to be more ambitious, and I was like, this feels like a safe pickup.
You were, Nick. You were trying to be more ambitious.
It feels like a safe pickup, but not a safe pickup if you want to pull in like mucho points. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's kind of what it's like an 81. It's an 81.
The potential was there though for like more mid 80s because it was like a bit of a step up for them. I thought at a glance at least, but. Yeah. And you know what? I played the demo for Reanimal after playing the demo for Little Nightmares 3, and it was so dramatically less boring. Even though you weren't doing anything, it was like it to me it pointed everything that was wrong with Little Nightmares 3. It just sort of it was like, okay, these are the people who made Little Nightmares.
They know what they're doing.
These other people clearly do not make Little Nightmares. They're like emulating something that they've seen.
It's just crazy that we have 2 games that could easily pass for Little Nightmares 3 at the same time.
But like Little Nightmares 3 looks like shit compared to this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
have you
this
seen
is
or played Little Nightmares 3? It's just
like, look at this footage, man. I'm getting attacked by this giant man-eating pelican while like swarms of birds attack me as I run across like a collapsing bridge. Like it's crazy. This game gets nuts. It's cool. I will say this though.
I heard it's short.
It's 4 hours. I finished it in like 2 sittings. And it is $40, which is maybe a steep price.
Are like the
I've been
puzzles
hesitating
good?
to I mean, they're as good as they've ever been in a Little Nightmares game.
Which is not amazing, right? And maybe sometimes
not
a little
like
tedious.
They're not
like,
super
oh,
complex.
I gotta move this thing now, and
I never really got stuck.
It's like whatever Playdead is working on is gonna eventually come out, and it's gonna be like, we're gonna feel so stupid for having ever wasted our time with the Little Nightmares game. That's what I feel like is gonna happen. Like all of these, there's been a ton of like Limbo and Inside likes since those games have released that just seem so boring in comparison. Like, truthfully, so boring. And it's kind of what I feel about the Journey likes, right? Like, it's like, I get that you like Inside, but like, I mean, whatever. At least Little Nightmares is like slightly spooky or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, it's man. I'll just say this: if you like Little Nightmares, this is the best. This is the best Little Nightmares ever made.
Okay, I mean, I think that's a
safe. Yeah, I think that's
for a safe series. That is what I want to hear, I guess.
Yeah. Yep. I definitely don't regret it. It was $40, and I've been like putting off specifically buying Mafia, The Old Country, and Chronos: The New Dawn, or whatever the fucking game is called. Because I'm like waiting for them to drop below $40, and I'm like, why did I just go out on a whim and buy a $40 game that I beat in 4 hours? Like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I mean,
yeah. That's what I'm gonna GameFly it. Perfect. Can I say that like
wait, what are you doing? It's in our fucking Steam library. Don't GameFly it.
Oh yeah.
I bought it on Steam.
Perfect. I'm assuming my computer can run it okay, but oh, that's a good point. Can I say like Tarsier?
I did try it on Steam Deck. Doesn't run very well on Steam Deck.
Games. Can y'all like make like a Souls-like or something now, please? Just like stop making these, please. It could still be like this type of horror or whatever. Just make a different genre. Please.
Still do vibes.
Yeah, you got the vibes. We believe you. We got you. We know that you can give us the vibes. But like, for the love of God, try something maybe a little deeper as far as mechanically speaking. But still a cool game. Definitely recommend. All right, let's talk about the cat game.
Nick. Yeah.
What?
I was going to tell you that both Chronos and Mafia are on sale for like $33 at various different sites.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
But I specifically want them on Steam.
Yeah, they'll give you Steam codes.
Okay, Steam codes. Okay, that's fair. All right, let's talk about Mewgenics.
Mewgenics, the new game from Edmund McMillan and Tyler Barber.
Tell us about the cat incest, Crispy.
Oh, okay. Oh, Crispy.
Is that really a thing?
Take it away.
That was the first thing. Like, no. I'm just saying that, like, because the whole point is that you do runs with a team of cats, right? And then when you bring them back, you just keep them as pets. They don't get to go on any more runs. So, and they breed.
I kind of want to set up this footage real quick because it's a little awkward. Due to the nature of this being like a long form roguelike where you go on very long runs, akin to there's various games that you could compare this to. Why is the footage tiny? Okay, there it is. I was in the very end of a run. I just beat a boss, and I could go on to the next area, or I can go back to my house. So I was like, well, I'll go back to my house so they can watch some cat shit. And then I was like, oh, something big in this game is about to happen, and I can't avoid it. So I guess this is what the footage is going to have to be. So I'm kind of dicking around in my house with my cats, and they're dicking around with each other, of course. And then I just have to do this thing, which is, it's still a fight, but it's kind of like there's world bosses in the game that kind of attack your homestead. So if you don't want to see that, maybe click away, but it's nothing like it's the first major boss that attacks. So it's just a fight. I'm just giving you a heads up. It's a cat breeding / tactical
What
roguelike
the
game.
fuck?
Yeah.
Sorry, I wasn't expecting the cats to actually.
No, that's how
fucking-
you get new cats. Like
Yeah.
they
I
fuck each
mean-
other and make kittens.
Can I
and
say
then
I've been
raise
playing this on my
Yeah.
Steam Deck. I've been playing this on my Steam Deck. There is an option in the menus that everyone needs to go and turn on, and it's that to turn the fucking animations from like X-rated to there's X-rated, and then there's safe, and then there's like random. You need to turn on random. It is fucking brilliant. So I installed this on my PC so I can record footage, and that option was off. So when I got to the breeding, it was just regular fucking. But what they do when you click it to random is fucking brilliant. Like they do insane animations, like they draw like a fucking pentagram and like rub themselves on the pentagram, and all of a sudden there's like a baby.
What?
Like they do crazy baby making animations if you turn it to random. So the first thing you should do
That's
is
amazing.
go into the settings and change the fucking animations to random, because there's some hilarious ass shit.
I did not know that.
With that said,
That's
there's still some
brilliant.
regular funky.
I wonder if there was just like one person at the studio. They're like, "All right, your job is to think of all the most ridiculous ways cats could breed. That's
Okay.
all you do."
I want to set this up a little bit for like the touchstones, that points or whatever that people are familiar with. Think like an XCOM with cats, but like a roguelike, right? But truth is, what I'm reminded of is a lot of stuff like Wildermyth. Y'all remember me talking about Wildermyth, a game I really liked?
Yeah.
How could we
Um,
forget?
Played a bunch of Wildermyth.
Oh, yeah, okay. That's true. I
Yeah.
forgot I had a fellow Wildermyth homie.
We're not all
It
disappointing
is,
to you,
but yeah,
Brad.
it is that like RPG class style. Yeah.
Wildermyth, I think of also like Banner Saga, and like kind of like the small form like tactics grids where it's just you and a few other units just kind of slugging it out. Also things like Darkest Dungeon, of course, because you are, even though you go on runs and your people come back kind of fucked up, like you're kind of managing a larger group of people who you're going to keep sending out on runs and kind of managing their well-being back at your home. And not and as far as like the breeding goes, it's very Massive Chalice. Do y'all remember Massive Chalice?
Yeah.
Where you had like your heirs, like you would, generations of tactical people who would
Yeah.
get some of your traits.
That game could've been really cool.
But you got to think it's not only from the creator of Super Meat Boy, but also Binding of Isaac, which is like the breakout game for these guys, and that game is famous for like having very simple like idea of kind of like this Zelda dungeon roguelike thing, but then having a million different items that do crazy shit, and by the halfway through your run, things have become so insane. Like you're either like super overpowered or you just have some weird shit. But like all your runs are going to be different, right? Because there's so many different items, and the combinations of the different items like lead to just insane roguelike runs, and that's sort of the Binding of Isaac touchstone. And that is all here, but it's a tactical roguelike game with breeding. So it has like all these insane items and skills that are not like the typical sort of skills and items you see in this type of game. There are abilities and items and mutations and stuff that can seem very bad or can actually be very bad, and the whole vibe of the game is just kind of working with what you got, which is again very Darkest Dungeon, right? Like bringing like these people who have gone through, so they're bringing their traumas and their quirks and their deficiencies into dungeons and just trying to survive, and that's what it feels like here. With sometimes you're bringing very bad cats or very good cats with bad attributes who have seen well. So one interesting thing about this game, and I think it's a balancing thing, is any cat that's been on a run can never go on a run again. Like they can become someone's parents, they can breed and make children that have some of their traits, right? That's the whole idea, right? But you can never send a cat back out on a run. And
They retire after one run.
No, they're literally it's called
they're retired. And I think that's because, again, very Binding of Isaac, it's very easy to like stumble into some incredibly broken shit. And like to have a cat that's just so fucking overpowered that it's like, if you could keep bringing that cat on runs, the game would not be fun anymore. So the fact that you have to retire them and they could just maybe be someone's dad one day is honestly, it works perfectly. It works perfectly. It lets a roguelike as insane as Binding of Isaac have a long form campaign style thing like a Darkest Dungeon, and it's smart. It really works. And the game's hilarious, and it has great fucking music, and you have very memorable encounters because your cats they're so good at like doing really powerful shit, but they're also so good at like shitting the bed. And it even has like
a real cat,
very
and literally
spelunky style like chaos where this thing is going to knock into that thing, which is going to like trigger this thing, and now everything's on fire. Very like Larian tactics games as well, where all the elements are reacting to each other in like sometimes intuitive ways, but mostly just like extreme chaos. Everyone's on fire, and that stuff's great. Like it's perfect for this type of game. But cats are going to die, and they're going to die very quickly in a very spelunky type way sometimes. Unforeseen and are you fucking kidding me type deaths, right? But at the same time, it's all good because that cat was never going to go on another run anyways, and so he just needs to scrape by the end of this run. I just need to get back to the house so I don't lose all my fucking items.
You get back to the house and there's like one cat that's a god and like a cat that's like missing 2 legs and like can't walk anymore. Like some of them get real fucked up.
Dude, it's so shit could go bad so quickly because there's items like here's it's like a little transmitter and it says this with like a big giant button on it, and it says press this button and you'll cast a spell, any fucking spell. I don't know what it's gonna happen, I don't know who it's gonna happen to, just cast a fucking spell. And the first time I pressed it, I was like, not only basically did I just instantly kill a cat, but like I'm like, I can never press this button again. This is insane. Now, maybe if I have like a cat with a really high luck, I'm learning that like luck has way more influence on things than I realized, both positive and negative. But like shit went so bad. I was fighting a boss and I pressed that button and it did this thing called Soulbind, which is a necromancer ability that you're supposed to use on like 2 different enemies. And what it does is like it connects the soul of 2 enemies. So every time you attack one enemy, it's going to attack another enemy, right? At the same time, but it casts this random spell on one of my cats and the boss, which I had to do like 200 damage to. So like I have to do 200 damage to this boss, and this cat is now sharing his health. So, or is sharing the damage that he takes. So this cat is just dead. I pressed this button and I've murdered this cat. And it's like, but you know what? I still scraped by, and it was fun.
Hypothetically speaking, could you not have attacked the cat and done damage to the boss?
I could have, but it doesn't matter because that cat didn't have much health anyways. It was he lived a very short life. He died basically the very next round. And maybe there was something I could have done. I don't know. Like the game is like very reactive, but it is kind of intuitive. Like some of the way the elements react and some of the way things like will bounce around. Like it's definitely a kind of game where it rewards like your curiosity with some of that stuff. Like surprisingly, especially given like how like crazy the abilities can get. Like I've not gotten this one, but I heard something about it where it's like, no, I have seen the ability, but I didn't get it. It's called like your cat can now eat rocks. But
what the fuck?
I found out that like there are rock-based enemies and bosses that have the rock flag, so you can just eat them because they're rocks. It's stuff like that. It's like, but like it's so broken, right? But since the game is like, it allows for broken shit and is also incredibly unfair at times. It makes sense. It's okay. In fact, my most powerful cat is probably one I had on my very first run. And that, man, let me tell you, I've never had a cat that lived up to that homie. All his children are disappointments, and all his children and grandchildren are disappointments. My God.
Even the ones he mated with personally?
Yes.
I feel like how many cats are you ultimately... How many cats you ultimately gotta have at any given time?
Because like Nick, you get so many. Like in a run, you have 4, but like at your house, it's every cat you've ever sent. Plus,
that hasn't
stray
died.
cats show up.
Stray cats
that hasn't died. Stray cats,
But stray
show up,
cats
like,
are
every day.
essential because inbreeding is very bad. If there's too much
Yeah.
inbreeding,
You
bad things
you
are going to
haven't even
happen to the
explained that
gene
there's
pool.
like mutations. Yeah,
Yeah.
like these cats can get mutations and shit. That like
Mutations.
if there's too much inbreeding going on, then you're starting to produce these like really negative effects in the kittens, like that do all kinds of weird, awful shit. And the cats themselves, you start getting so many of them that the cats themselves become like a currency. You're spending retired cats or like
Yeah.
strong cats or like kittens, even like
There's
sometimes.
various NPCs around town that want your cats for various reasons, and one NPC that only wants babies, newborn cats. Bring me all your newborn cats, and none of them tell you what's going to happen to these cats, but
Yeah.
you assume
doesn't
nothing
seem-
good.
There's one guy who's definitely eating them, like
Yeah,
who
that's
lives
true.
in
That's
fear.
true. Yeah,
I mean, I
Oh,
don't even think
shit.
I don't even think he makes any bones about that. I think he just.
but
says
all
he
your
just-
permanent
He likes just
progression
eating that
is
pussy.
through.
Oh my
those
God, Chris
NPCs.
Davis.
It's not necessary in a game as off the walls as Mewgenics. Like that joke is like not even like it's not good enough for this game. It's not. Stop it.
It's
I mean,
too
to be
blue.
honest, are you talking about the pussy joke?
No, I'm saying
Because
it's like this game is
I
already
literally-
insane.
I literally watched this boss character make that exact joke at the start of this fight. He
Oh,
said,
really?
"Pussy's back on the menu, boys."
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah,
it's the
that's what I'm
game is
saying.
not
No,
is not
I'm-
below that level of.
No, what I'm
crass.
saying is it's like his shit was like safe for work. This game is far worse than what just came out of his mouth. I'm saying, what am I? You know what I'm saying.
So-
By the
I
way,
do know
this
what you're
boss just eats and swallows one of my cats, and it's just gone. He just ate like I thought, like for a while he was spitting cats out after he swallowed them, and I was like, oh, he took a bunch of damage. But then one cat he just swallowed, and the cat was gone. And then I beat him, and then I was like, okay, back to my house. But I guess that cat's not coming with me. He was swallowed.
Man,
I think I lost those
I
items
actually
too.
kind of want to play this game.
even
I was-
even the items you get can be really powerful, but they get flagged, right? They have a chance of like becoming worn when you come back, and if an item has a worn status, that means it has a 50% chance of breaking if you take it out on a run again. So like you can't keep using the same overpowered items over and over and over again. They're eventually just gonna go away. I will say, as someone who plays a lot of tactics games, my entire video game life, I've been playing a lot of tactics games, a lot of roguelike tactics games, even some of the games that I have mentioned before, like in this conversation, for all of this game's successes and charms, and my God, just the insane amount of content. You could literally play this game for hundreds of hours before ever seeing the end. It's the truth is there are some things that I like, quality of life things and UI things that I see in a lot of other games in this genre that I so desperately wish were here. Like a game like Darkest Dungeon, like shows you so much of the info, and here it shows you some of it, but not all of it. Like, and it can be really frustrating sometimes as to like, okay, but what does that actually mean? A game that I played last year that I thought did a extremely good job of, like, anytime I had a question about what something does or what it targets or how does that formulated or anything, like I would hover over it or I'd right click and it would give me all the information. Starvaders was a game. Slay the Spire is a game that does a really good job of giving you all the info, right? Like, it's not even Wildermyth, right? Like it's a game that, but this game, there are times where I'm like, I don't know if it's like it wants to be like clear or unclear, kind of like Binding of Isaac, but it's inconsistent. Some things it's going to go into details about, and then some things it just doesn't.
This is a
Like,
first
there are
genre-wise
tooltips
for
that
the
pop
studio,
up.
right?
Yeah, I don't think they've made a tactics game before,
Yeah.
but so it, like, one of the things is it's a very visually busy game. Like, again, with it can be chaotic sometimes. They have a tactical view that you can hold down a button and just see, like, it kind of reduces everything to like game board pieces and like kind of removes all like the visual effects, so you can just kind of, like a tactical view, right? But for whatever reason,
Simplifies things.
it like flowers and stuff, it doesn't it doesn't obscure. So it doesn't go away like the rest of the stuff does when you hit the tactical view button. So for a while, on a few runs I've been bringing it, there are these flower seeds that lets you create like a huge patch of a flower bed. And flower beds are really great is because not only is it like grass where you can it increases your dodge chance, but the flowers actually regen from turn to turn, right? So it's like such a great item to like kind of hole up in like one place on a map and just stay on this flower bed. But for whatever reason, when you hold the tactical view, they just forgot to remove the flowers and you can't see anything. You can't see anything in tactical view when it shrinks them down to like flat game board pieces. So I can't even see where my cats are, where they're facing. It's just like some weird oversight that like, dude,
They'll
like
probably patch that out.
You've ruined this item. It feels like something they need to patch. Yeah. I had this other skill called Deja Vu, which actually one of the few skills that gave me a percentage. It said 10% of the time you're going to fail your action. It could be a move. It could be an attack. You can randomly fail it. Deja Vu. You get Deja Vu and you've wasted your action. It was proccing like every fucking turn or every other fucking action I did with this character. It was proccing Deja Vu. And I'm like, motherfucker, it says 10% on the tooltip. If it's not 10%, then don't fucking say the percentage because you don't do that with a lot of other abilities. It feels a little sloppy in a way that most of the games in this genre are so like, you know, like it's a very nerdy genre. And I feel like, you know, strategy games and board games and like nerd games are very like I'm not trying to say this is not well designed. Like they're very like exhaustively refined, I think, maybe because they're games that don't have 9,000 different abilities. Admittedly, maybe that's part of it. But here it feels very like, fuck it, it's all chaos anyways. You know, so your character died because our UI was kind of bullshit. Like you click on a square to move, and if you misclick, you're fucked. You can't take back that move like you can in most tactical games.
I've done that a bunch.
So if you accidentally click on the wrong square, you're just, I'm just out in the open, or I'm just fucked. I can't reach the enemy. I'm just standing out in the open. Oh, I guess that cat's gonna eat shit. And it's so frustrating. And I don't want to, it's not like I want to undo the whole turn or rewind the turn or some tactics games do have a rewind, like Into the Breach or whatever. I'm not even asking for that. I just want to be able to like click on a space and not have a misclick, a single misclick completely fuck me.
These sound like things that like, because they've already done one fairly large update, I believe. I think I saw they did an update on this game already. But these all sound like things that are probably inevitably going to be patched in.
But he's not the kind of developer designer. Like he'd rather like make like more mutations than make the game better. I feel like
I feel like
his vibe, right? That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know. I worry a little bit about stuff like that because there's absolutely like if it was Slay the Spire 2, yeah, they'd be on top of any sort of weird buggy shit or unclear shit, right? Like they'd be like absolutely. This game, I'm not so sure. I think it's more just going to be fuck it. You know, there's always next run. And maybe that's fine. It's incredibly addictive, this game. I've been playing so much of this. I've been wanting like a good roguelike, like turn-based tactics game for a very long time. And there's been some that have been close, but Wilder Myth was more like, you know, emergent stories or like literal like random storytelling events and stuff. Like Banner Saga was like that too. It had a very big story focus. Like this is pure gameplay, and I don't know. The true chaos is my house. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Sometimes the cats just kill each other, and I think it's because I don't have enough furniture, but I can't afford any fucking furniture. Maybe I need to start bringing the thief on more runs. I don't usually bring the thief.
Yeah,
actually, that's what I'm gonna start doing. Okay.
I'm shocked Chris Davis is not all over this.
That's what I've been saying, but he's an oddball
because
sometimes.
It's cats?
Yes, of course, because it's cats.
Because it's cats.
No, I mean the art style isn't for me. I'll put it that way.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. It's a controversial art episode, I guess.
We have had several controversial conversations about art tonight. All right, guys, we need to take a break. When we come back, second segment, I just want to talk a little bit about the Bluepoint thing and then we can wrap up at the 4-player minute. I also have a icebreaker from another supporter on Patreon or Twitch. So stick with us. We'll be right back. If you're watching us live or listening at home, don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. Guys, as I said earlier in the show, I thought this was going to be a quick one and done, just talk about a bunch of games we've been playing and move on, but
we have big games. We have big games.
No, I mean, sorry, not one and done. There's 3 big games to talk about. I just meant it was going to be a very impressions heavy show, but apparently there was a news headline today that I completely missed. And so it was kind of shocking to me when I sat down to record tonight and Chris Davis and Brad filled me in. Sony closed down Bluepoint Games today.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And that's
so
a local
crazy.
studio too, right? Like they're here in Austin.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which
It's
means
so-
the
I
job
forgot about
market's gonna
that.
get even more fucked. Like, dude.
It's so weird because I feel like remakes and remasters and stuff, I feel like have been the backbone of
Were they working on
AAA game
Bloodborne?
development.
Were they working on a
Dude,
Bloodborne remake?
I guess not.
No.
I guess not.
If they
They were
were,
working
there's
on
no
a-
way they
It
would.
had just got quietly canceled.
They
Nah.
were working.
That would be insane.
Last year, they were working on a God of War Games as a Service title. They got
For the
canceled
past
by
couple
Sony.
years, few years.
Okay,
Yeah,
what
yeah,
the
they've been
fuck
working
is
on it
that?
since Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
That got
What the-
canceled, and they spent the next year pitching projects to Sony, which evidently none of them panned out.
What is
It's
a
so crazy
God
to
of
me
War
that the
game
project
is-
pitched to Sony was not let us now remake Bloodborne, because they would be rolling in money.
Yeah.
It's
That game would
it's
be
like
enormous on PC. I have to believe that is a thing that is going
like,
to come eventually.
I can't
come
think of
forward.
another studio that I would want remaking Bloodborne than the studio
Well,
that
I
remade
mean,
Demon's Souls.
How about From Software? That would be
Well,
nice.
I don't think that's
Oh,
gonna
yeah,
happen.
That would be pretty cool.
I mean, there's also
Yeah, I mean,
accusations that Bloodborne is a bunch of spaghetti code. But
Oh, shut up!
But
That
also,
doesn't mean
like,
anything.
they just announced a remake of the God of War trilogy, and what better studio is there to work on that right now in Sony's library?
I don't know. I mean, look, I don't want any studio to shut down, but we are overglazing like a studio that just existed to pretty up older games. You know, it's not like
I mean,
Yeah.
that might be true, but like,
Look.
there is literally a project that everybody wanted them to make. That I don't think anybody here, despite the fact that thinking that they're just a glorified studio that churns out remakes of existing games, nobody here would complain if they had let them remake Bloodborne.
Yeah. Take a
well,
crack.
It's
that's certainly
insane.
not true. But I
It
mean,
whatever.
just
the
prints.
internet's
Whatever,
crazy with
but,
these
like,
games. But I know what you mean.
I mean, and also like the optimistic take is here that like, oh, maybe, this was a studio that was about to have their big original hit, right? Like they were finally gonna stop being the remake studio and make something cool and new. But also, I don't think any of us are necessarily as mad as fans of the hobby as we are workers of the world. Like this is
Yeah.
just
Well, yeah.
this is just
It's
more
fucked up.
corporate bullshit. Just
Yeah. It's just out of left field. It's like it's
disgusting.
not a studio that I would have expected them to close. I don't know.
Well,
know, man.
because I feel like a studio like this exists to just serve the corporate side of. I mean, like remakes and remasters exist to like
yeah, but it didn't
fund
have
the
to be that.
original projects.
It could have been a studio that made original projects that like if Sony greenlit, they would make new games and then we'd have new games that didn't
doesn't
exist.
always work out, right?
I know, but like
maybe they didn't. They had a bunch of good artists, right? But like maybe they didn't have a visionary that had an idea that seemed appealing to Sony, right? I don't know.
They
I mean,
acquired.
Service guy got a.
All right. Sorry, we had a little bit of a Discord hiccup at the middle of that conversation, so we're back again. Anyways, where were we?
Oops.
Bluepoint, blah blah blah.
Bluepoint.
Bluepoint
Rip.
shut down. Sony's stupid. I hate capitalism.
Does anybody else think it's at least a little bit suspicious that in the same breath as announcing, or like this, they closed the studio down, and a studio like Bluepoint of all studios is somehow linked to a live service game that never saw the light of day?
Like Concord?
Is this just another casualty of this
No,
whole
but
live service
like
push?
this should have happened a year ago when they actually canceled it, though. Like, if that was the case.
Like,
I mean,
canceling projects is one thing, but shutting down entire studios because they made a bad call, like a bad strategy call.
That's what Sony's been doing, though. They've been doing that for the past couple of years. They've been shutting down tons of
modern
studios.
Business.
Yeah.
Like what's surprising to me is that it was this studio, because again, I feel like this type of studio just serves like the more corporate side of a company like Sony.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. Like, to me, Bluepoint is the kind of, I thought there was going to be the only kind of studio left at the end of all of this shit, right? Well, they're just going to remaster what we already enjoy and bought. So
yeah,
I don't know. It's weird.
All right.
Yeah, but
yeah,
well, they deserved a shot.
Of course.
I
don't know. Maybe they didn't want to make an original game. At least maybe they didn't want to make
a bunch of people who are really
God of
passionate
War
about
game.
remakes. Like,
I mean, there are people. There are people.
Yeah, but
like,
come on, no one. But come on.
I mean, this to me just feels like fucking Tango all over again. Like, it's absurd. They acquired Bluepoint just less than 5 years ago. Like, after Demon's Souls had released, they acquired them, and now they're shutting
Bluepoint.
And who has
remaster?
How stupid do you have to be to assign a games as a service title to a studio of less than 80 people?
I mean, I think it's more of just like it's. I don't think. I just think even like just like when you look at the types of games, like the strengths and weaknesses of various studios, giving a live service game at all to the studio seems outrageous.
Like
even if they had
doing live service games.
Also,
I know
this isn't just about like this little remake whatever studio getting shut down. I mean, the whole industry is kind of like there's a lot of talented developers who are just not getting jobs. Like it's not like it used to be where a studio would shut down and then you'd see all these people spread out, get jobs at other studios, maybe start their own studio, things like that. That's just not happening as much anymore.
They don't come back.
Less
to the
opportunity.
Scene.
Yeah, there's less opportunity for these people to get like reabsorbed into the industry. The industry's like in a bad spot.
And the indie scene is not easy to break into, as we all know.
You start having families and mortgages and stuff. It just doesn't make sense to stay in video games anymore. It's just
that's crazy.
Yeah,
we're losing a lot of talented developers to like more stable, sane companies, like
which
who make like tax software or something. Like
this just this just got depressing.
All right, it's not like a Tango. I don't know. It's sad that they never got a chance, but to make something original. But to me, it's not the same. Like from the less human perspective, right? And the more pure creative side of it, I suppose. Like when we're not talking about people losing jobs, it's like, I mean,
yeah.
Like it's not the same sort of loss as people.
Did we even really lose that much?
I mean, I'm saying they're really I mean, Chris Davis is comparing it to Tango, and it ain't the same fucking thing, man. It's just not.
Oh, fucking! Don't even talk about these people are not going to Palantir, are they? They can't. That's awful. Don't say things like that. No, no.
Wait, what's happening?
Oh my god! No, I was I was talking about these people not getting jobs at other game studios, instead getting development jobs in other industries. And Mr. Papashot saying oh yeah, Palantir, which is an awful defense contractor owned by Lucky Palmer, the guy who invented whatever that
The Oculus.
Which one of the VR heads? Yeah, the Oculus guy.
You know what
And
studio
now
I
he
see
makes
getting?
now he makes drones and missiles and shit for the U.S. government and spy software and like.
I'm worried Retro
Wow.
Studios. I'm worried Nintendo might shut down Retro Studios. That's what I'm worried about. Another Austin.
Anything
And
is
then all those
possible these
developers are
days.
going to get absorbed into the military-industrial complex. They're going to be. Never mind. I'm done. I'm sorry.
All right, real quick, my bad. I did forget to do our icebreaker at the beginning of the segment, so we'll do it now before we wrap up with the 4-player minute. Shop Creeper from North Carolina asks, are there any game mechanics or gameplay styles from older console generations that you think were abandoned or attempted too soon, and if brought back in a more modernized release could find an audience? For example, I think an online multiplayer take on PS1 game Trap Gunner with its top-down spy versus spy
Gunner.
trap-based combat would be a hit.
A deep cut.
That is a
That
deep
is.
cut. I am not familiar with that game.
Trap Gunner. You set traps and it's sort of like a top down. Well, whatever. Trap Gunner. Pretty cool. Deep cut though.
How many genres are out there that are not?
How about a
There's so
car
many
combat
games
game?
now.
How about a car
Well,
combat game?
Oh, dude, like fucking Star Wars Demolition. Remember that shit?
Yeah,
It was so good.
so
I'm sure that's
sick.
what Brad was thinking of when he said
And
that.
nothing else. Yeah.
It's so good. You could play as Boba Fett. Just flew around with his jetpack.
But like seriously, how many like genres of games are out there that haven't at this point made a resurgence of some kind?
I mean,
Because
they've morphed into something else, right? Like before the resurgence of boomer shooters, there was definitely a kind
were
of
just
shooter
shooters.
that didn't exist anymore, right? After
Yeah.
Half-Life and then Halo and like Call of Duty, like that old school style of like Doom corridor maze like filled with secrets shooter was just gone. And the genre was called the same thing, but it became something else. And then they came back, and it's not all of them kind of focus on the aspects that I really love of Doom, but they're definitely back.
Who's back,
I mean,
baby?
I mean, if it's not like Tony Hawk, like the entire sports game genre is basically serious simulator bullshit, and I'm like, let's bring back the age of the nonsensical, absurd sports games like SSX.
What, like
give me
NFL
NFL Blitz, something like that. Yeah.
Some have tried though. Like some of
NBA
those devs
Jam.
have tried.
Yeah.
More arcadey racing games or just sports games. Like there's always the attempts here and there, but.
So I know like the Nemesis system is really just kind of like marketing bullshit, but like how come there's never been a game that really tried to like work on that idea of
I
it's
think they have a
patented.
patent on that.
Yeah. they
okay,
do.
then how come the company that has a patent on it?
Oh,
has
Because they
never
shut all
done
those
anything with-
developers down. They shut them all
Shut the
down.
fuck up! No.
They were making one. It was called the Wonder Woman
Yeah.
game, and they canceled that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, wait,
I
what?
can't believe Monolith got shut down.
Hang on. The Wonder Woman game. We knew that was going to be a thing.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was it. Was an announced
No. I
game,
mean,
and
we knew that was part of it.
Yes.
Nemesis system, absolutely confirmed. I mean, it was announced.
Yeah.
Yeah, tragic. I can't believe they
Fucking
shut down
tragic.
Monolith.
We knew
Which
that was gonna
if you think
have-
about it, really the same as Bluepoint. I'm sorry.
Oh,
guys.
man, a Wonder Woman game would be sick if it had that fucking network.
There's so many games that would be sick if the Nemesis system, but
Yeah.
we'll never fucking see them.
I blame Gal Gadot actually for the reason that doesn't exist.
That's
anymore.
also true.
She's
probably.
responsible for Monolith getting shut down.
What? It's like
Really.
a fucking psyop or something. Like
Yeah, Wonder Woman became uncool. It started cool.
that second
Gal
movie
Gadot's
was
Wonder Woman
so
started
bad.
cool.
Dude, that second
The
movie was
first movie
terrible.
was like the first movie was not incredible, but it was good enough, right? Like
Yeah.
it was good enough. The second movie, the second movie killed killed Patty Jenkins' career. Like
Yeah.
I
but
mean,
it didn't
I
kill
also-
Gal Gadot's. Like she still got to make movies. That's crazy. Like okay,
I also feel the same way about Thor: Love and Thunder versus Ragnarok. You know what I mean? Like it's like
yeah, but that yes, but Thor: Love and Thunder is just kind of like, eh. It's not great. Like, it's not
Yeah.
good. It's not. I don't find it as like
Offensively
perplexingly
bad?
bad as
Yeah.
as some of the decisions.
I'm actually a little
in
surprised on this one. I
Wonder
don't
Woman
know,
84.
like to me, like that, like I could see a version of Crispy that like is like the lone defender of that Wonder Woman movie.
Oh, that's like a Snyder, bro.
No,
Come
not
on.
that
The
version,
lone
but just
defender
like
of that movie.
people are idiots. It was cool and comic
But
booky or something.
it had Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, and that's worth hanging on to. That's worth hanging on to.
That's right. Yeah.
Worth hanging
I
on
mean,
to. Justice
that's the
League
part I remember
International.
at least. It's kind of the
Like,
only
would you
part I
rather have
remember.
Pedro Pascal playing Maxwell Lord, or would you rather have James Gunn's brother playing Maxwell Lord? You know what I'm saying? Who do you want to see getting their neck snapped by Wonder Woman?
Pedro Pascal.
It's a trick question.
For sure. Yeah.
Pedro Pascal.
He dies so well.
Well, I hope we answered the question adequately. We've gone down a hell of a rabbit hole here, talking about Wonder Woman now. But anyways, thank you guys so much for your questions. Again, as always, if you're a supporter on Patreon or Twitch, you can always submit your own icebreaker questions. Which, again, Brad, weekly reminder that you have not yet thought of a creative name that we could call these other than icebreaker questions.
Oh yeah,
so
that's true.
Get on that. But yeah, if you want to submit a question, Twitch subscribers can find the link in the Twitch supporters channel in Discord, and Patreon. You can find the poll or the form where you can submit your question on our Patreon feed. It's pinned at the top. So, guys, let's do it. Let's wrap up the show with the 4-player minute. Let's get into it. You know how this works.
Yeah, I'll go first. This is my 4-player minute. It's a question. I randomly saw one of these lazy videos of the 10 best fighters in Westeros. Well, maybe it wasn't that lazy. It seemed pretty well.
Wait, who
researched.
did they say was the best? Before you even get into it, who did they say was the best?
Come on.
Arthur Dane?
Arthur Dane, yeah, Arthur Dane, of course.
Okay,
But I'm saying like the Red Viper was not even on the list, and I feel like
what?
Well, the Red Viper's a good fighter, but because he fights dishonorably.
But it's the best
he poisons
fighters.
His spear, like that's what he's known for.
Okay, and the Mountain, who was on the list, is just big. Okay,
I mean, yeah, but like he's a good fighter. I don't know, like
he's just big.
He's such a good fighter that they matched up Sir Hugh of the Vale against him, just knowing that like the Mountain's probably just gonna kill this guy, and then he does. Like they didn't even like pay him to do that. He just did it. Like.
Yeah, but the Red Viper like destroyed the Mountain until the mishap,
Yeah,
I don't know, whatever.
Until the little
until the little oopsie daisy,
the little
at the end
oopsie, until he got. I'm sorry. Say that.
Speaking of Pedro Pascal, sorry, that scene haunts my dreams.
Yeah,
it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
It's so good. It was so those books. Oh, the show used to be so good.
The show was so good. The books, I mean, are great. The story's good.
As soon as they fucked up Dorne, the Sand Vipers were trash.
I'll never forgive them for fucking up Jaime. Like Jaime's story is one of the biggest crimes in that show.
You're right. I mean, it starts off with a lot of potential, honestly, and then it just.
I don't know how you go from like the scene of Jaime and
he was number 3,
Brienne,
by the way.
Well, yeah, I mean, what was it like? Arthur Dane, Barristan the Bold, Jaime Lannister, Ned Stark, maybe somewhere.
No,
like the thing about Ned
Stark's,
but like Ned's pretty good. I know. But the thing about Ned is that nobody knows how he fights because he refuses to fight in tourneys. Like that was
and the whole thing
what was so dangerous about him
with Arthur Dane, right?
Oh,
like what really happened, right?
Right. What happened at the Tower of Joy? 3 King's Knights versus 7 men, and only 2 people walk away alive.
Yeah.
Like what happened?
Man,
I mean,
nerd shit here.
Basically, no one believed Ned Stark because they're like, "There's no fucking way." Like,
what
no
did
one
Howland Reed do? Like, is it really gonna in the book? Is it really gonna play out like in the show where he just like stabbed Arthur Dane in the back? Or did he do like some weird?
Maragrin took that motherfucker, dude.
Okay, but maybe he used some weird like Cranagman magic or some shit.
Yeah, maybe whatever.
Or maybe they
we'll literally never
Arthur.
Know.
Dude, there are some people who believe that they convinced Arthur Dane to kill himself. Like,
okay,
we don't know. We don't know.
Oh,
and the world may never
fucking
know.
You jumped to fucking Ned Stark. What about fucking the fucking king, dude? Yeah, no, well,
Oh,
Loris, he was low. He was low on the
Loris is
list,
supposed to be
but
pretty good.
no, fucking Baratheon.
Robert
Oh, but
Baratheon.
yeah, but
Yeah.
like,
Like
but
young
his
Robert
prime.
Baratheon, young
Okay, in
Robert
his prime,
Baratheon.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
young Robert
But
Baratheon.
then Rhaegar has to be on the list too, right? Probably below Ray. Probably below. Rhaegar was an excellent knight. He didn't even want to be a knight, and he was an excellent knight because he was just good at
I don't
everything.
think Rhaegar was on the list.
That's
Maybe he was.
weird.
I don't remember.
Well, who else?
I don't remember. All Targaryens look the same.
What was your point? What was your point about this?
Oh, I don't know. I think we were talking about we were talking about Oberyn Martell at some point. Oh, Pedro Pascal.
Man.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. Yeah.
That's who it
That was fucking good.
Dude,
I don't think Oberyn is like a bad fighter. I just think that like the fact that like he uses poison should be considered, you know?
It's certainly a factor.
Do you think he poisoned Tywin?
I feel like you're being racist towards the Dornish people is what I think is happening here.
Yeah, well,
can I do my 4-player minute? Oh, fuck.
Wow.
Can I do my 4-player minute? I have a real 4-player minute.
Wait, that was bitch, you just talked for like 5 minutes.
I literally told you that was not my 4-player minute. This is a video game thing on my 4-player minute, and it's not that long.
I'm pretty sure you said this is my 4-player minute. Whatever,
no, I said this is
go.
not my 4-player minute. No, my 4-player minute is news that I got today that feels like mostly just for me. As y'all know, I'm a big fan of Capybara games, Cappy, and especially Might and Magic Clash of Heroes. I think it's one of the best hidden gems ever. If you're a puzzle / tactics fan, Clash of Heroes, originally on the DS, but it eventually got remade and ported to other things. I still think maybe that DS version is the best version, but I absolutely adore that game. I think it's brilliant. I think it's one of the best tactics / puzzle game hybrids, period.
It's so good.
Brilliant game.
It's for the
So
lads.
Battle Vision Network is a game that Cappy announced a couple of years ago, and it was basically going to be the core mechanics of Clash of Heroes, but in a multiplayer, like only like 1v1 battle game that you play online versus other people. And it was being published by Netflix. They were going to have a mobile version. It makes sense. Well, late last year they were dropped by Netflix. Netflix actually dropped a lot of their game projects, and they kind of went dark. Kind of didn't hear from them. But their Discord was still there. They were like, hey, we still exist. Well, today they came out and announced and said, oh, by the way, we've completely pivoted this project, and it is no longer going to be that thing that it was. And we are now turning it into a single player roguelike with those exact same like stylings and mechanics. And like, it's still Battle Vision Network, but it is not a 1v1 online versus game. It is a single player roguelike game based on those core mechanics from Clash of Heroes, which I think is a brilliant, perfect fit for that. Perfect fit. It was
that thing. Is quite the pivot.
As soon as I saw Battle Vision Network, I was so sad when I learned that it was basically not that. That is exactly what I always wanted it to be. I think it's the best format for something like Clash of Heroes, and I'm so glad for this pivot, and I think it is going to be a game that I think would have been before in its previous form probably dead on arrival. To be completely honest, it being a multiplayer only thing, I could absolutely see a world where no one notices it, no one plays it, and then the game is dead. But this form is something that I know. Again, I know the core of it is not just sound, but actually low key like the GOAT, and it's perfect. It's perfect for this format. Cappies, they've made other games like Grindstone wasn't a roguelike, but that was another game that was like a really like good, satisfying, like tactical, like puzzle game hybrid. And that's another one that just sort of had levels that it kept going and going and going, but probably would have been perfect for a roguelike structure. So I'm so glad that they're doing this. I think it's going to be great. I think it's like, it goes from a game that I was like, a little sad about, but kind of like, oh, I hope this works out for them, to now a game that's like shot up my list of one of my most anticipated games that's going to come out this year. I think it was a game that was supposed to come out late last year, but then the Netflix thing happened, and now it's still supposed to come out this year. It was delayed, of course, but now that they're changing, it's probably going to be more like later in the year. But I am very, very excited because I think Cappy is, a very underrated indie dev, and I think they've struggled to kind of get back to relevance, and I don't know if this is going to be it, but if the right people, give this thing to Northern Lion and let him go at it. Like I think this game, it being a roguelikes can blow up, or roguelike could at the very least be mildly successful, and I know this game could certainly be good enough to be one of those. So I'm excited. Battle Vision Network, I'm hyped. Yeah, it's kind of like dream
Sweet.
come true for me, honestly, for this game.
All right, Crispy.
I'll keep mine short because I'm gonna talk about Star Trek Voyager Into the Unknown. But I'm actually gonna talk about that game, or Across the Unknown, whatever it's called. Weird title. Star Trek Voyager Across the Unknown. I'll talk about that game next week when I've played more. I've only played like about an hour so far.
Is this the one that we were watching the trailer for tonight?
Yeah. It's the only one. It's the only one, Nicholas. It's the only one. And so far, honestly, I like it. I mean, as a fan of Star Trek Voyager, I definitely like it. As a roguelike survival game so far, pretty good. But I'm not into the shit quite yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
gotta get your feet dirty.
Yeah. I'm still to give you, for anyone who's familiar with Star Trek Voyager, the tutorial is Caretaker Part 1 and 2, the episodes that are all about Voyager and the Maquis ship, the Valjean, getting sucked across the universe to the Delta Quadrant, dealing with the Array and the Caretaker who's dying, and the Ocampa and the Kazon, and meeting Neelix and all that shit, right? So that's what's going on for the tutorial. The one thing I will talk about this week for my 4-player minute for this game is the one glaring thing that this game is getting knocked for in a lot of the reviews I'm reading, and that is the save function. There is none. There's no save feature in this game. You cannot manually save. You cannot save and quit. There's just an autosave, and the autosave triggers basically during story moments. So once you get into the game, it's kind of sparse. You can lose progress. You're moving through the Delta Quadrant sector by sector, and then each sector has 3 or 4 solar systems in it, and then each of those solar systems will have 5 or 6 planets, and you're moving around trying to do all this different shit. But those save points, I'm hearing that at parts of the game you don't get autosaves for an entire sector. So if you just close the program, you could lose a significant chunk of progress, which
seems
crazy. Which is crazy.
Is this a design choice they stand behind, or
now in that first hour of the game, I've gotten a bunch of autosaves. It's been pretty generous, but I think once you kind of get out and are up and running, they become much more sparse. Now, Nick, to answer your question, is it something that they are aware of? They actually put out a post today, their first day after launch post, and it says it only talks about 2 things. It talks about bug crashes and it talks about saving. And it says, we've heard you very loud and clear. We understand that it's a and they say it's a little
threats.
It's a little bit more complicated than, quote, just allowing saving whenever. But we have seen what your desired outcome is, and we are doing our best to find a solution that brings you there without diminishing crucial game design decisions. I don't fucking know what that means. I don't really understand why it would work like that. I guess I don't understand what design decisions they are protecting. It seems like this really sparse saving system was intentional, but I don't know why.
Just questionable
right? Because
development.
the other game, another game that I've been getting back into and trying to play a bit more of is Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, right? That's another game where you can't just freely save. You have to craft savior schnapps, right? But you can always just save and quit, right? Yeah. You can always just be oh, I gotta go, I can't play right now, and save and quit and come back later.
That's how I
think
saved
is
most
the
of the
egregious.
time.
Like, if you don't want me to be able to save to redo to like save scum encounters, that's great. I get that. I think that's very much in the spirit of the game. But like, save and quit, like, seems like that should be.
You know,
there.
there was a game, high profile, first party Sony release that had no saving, and people were so pissed off when they eventually put it in, but it took a while. Returnal. Returnal was a game you could not stop in the middle of a run. You had to complete a
Those
run.
runs
And some
were
of those runs could go
long
long.
runs. They're long.
Yeah.
Those were like
And, like-
those were like 2 or 3 hours sometimes.
And I still don't really even have an idea of like how long a quote unquote run of this game is, because I don't think there are runs. I think it's just like you do the whole fucking thing, and then you can go back and do it again with different choices, which I don't know. I don't know. We'll talk more about it because the game itself is actually really fun. I'm enjoying it, and it's
Sweet.
It's really cool. But that thing right there, that one issue is an issue. And
Yeah, it sounds
who
like
fucking
it.
knows? Like maybe by next week they'll be like, "Oh, we save and quit. We've added save and quit." But the tone of that post kind of sounded like
They don't know what
maybe
they're going
not.
to do.
like maybe not. So I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it probably has to do something like they had already pre-designed like just the autosaves exactly the places they wanted for the main narrative beats, and just they didn't realize, oh shit, we have players that need to play for less than an hour and a half.
But then also I don't know, like I don't know that, like I don't know what the main narrative beats of the game even are. Like it's very, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I need to play more is what I need to do. So I will do that, and then we will talk more.
Do
about
that and report back. We'll talk about that maybe next
I
time.
really wonder if it's going to have every episode. I need to know that the Warp 10 shuttle experiment is in this, and that like you can send people on that shuttle and turn them into weird, and then like Tom Paris is in the sick bay like fucking turning into a lizard man. He's just going pepperoni pizza like that. That's a great episode. That's a great episode.
That
or
sounds
the
awesome,
one where
actually.
7 of 9 gets abducted and put into that like pit fighting tournament, the Tunkatse or whatever, and they had The Rock from WWE SmackDown guest starring as an alien who doesn't speak. Like,
you mean Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Yes.
yeah, they put a little
that's The Rock?
squiggle on his nose and made him fight 7 of 9. He
Yeah.
beats the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Damn.
And I look forward to finding out about your decision about Tuvix.
Dude, wouldn't it be fucking crazy if Harry Kim could get promoted to lieutenant in this game? Like, wouldn't that be insane? That would be the weirdest thing that this game could do.
Yeah, make Harry Kim like the new captain, like Janeway dies.
Yeah, like everyone dies and it's just Harry.
Yeah.
God, that was so good. The end of Lower Decks where they had that like multiversal crew where like all the crewmen were just different Harry Kims. Like,
Yeah.
'cause
And
they
none of
were
them
all
ever get
ensigns.
promoted. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many
God.
possibilities. All right, Chris Davis, you're up.
That was a nice conversation. It's too bad I got to be a Debbie Downer.
Oh no.
I wanted to mention that Ubisoft laid off 40 people over Ubisoft Toronto today as well. They say that the Splinter Cell remake is still on track. It's still being worked on.
I keep forgetting that's a thing that's been announced.
Yeah. And it's
Is that the one with Solid Snake?
No, that's Rainbow Six Siege X. Yeah,
That
no.
looks so cool. When they did the fucking Cyclops Ryu like like handshake.
Yeah, between Sam and Snake, and I hate the world. But I thought for my 4-player minute I would just read you a small snippet of Herman Hulst's letter to the entire Sony PlayStation Studios group about his justification for closing Bluepoint. Quote, "We're operating increasingly challenging industry environment. Rising development costs, slowed industry growth, changing player behavior, and broader economic headwinds are making it harder to build games sustainably. To navigate this reality, we need to continue adapting and evolving. We've taken a close look at our business to ensure we're delivering today while still well positioned for the future. As a result, we will be closing Bluepoint Games in March.
Oh God!
Fuck off. Oh,
so
also, by the way,
gross.
this delightful little line here: where possible, we will work to find opportunities for some impacted employees within our global network of studios. Yeah, fuck off,
It's a very
Herman.
standard. It's a very standard corporate line on this sort of thing.
The corporate speak.
I thought it was going to be more controversial.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
this is
still
also
just.
I mean, he's a
Sony
It's
exec. Sony, for fuck's sake.
PlayStation.
Of course it's going to be corporate.
Yeah,
we can't get too mad for the shark for eating the swimmer, right? It's a shark. That's what it does. It's a piece of shit. We should just kill it.
I guess that's true.
We shouldn't chastise it. We shouldn't get mad at it. We should just.
It's just not surprising anymore. Sadly, I mean, again, like so many, like Bluepoint is honestly like not. I'm not trying to be mean about it, but like so many amazing studios have been shut down in recent years that it's like it's hard to be like have Bluepoint be the one that makes me stand up and go, "Hey, now that's not cool." Like, yeah,
This is like when two celebrities die close together, and like the more famous one is like the more tragic one.
I mean, we were just talking about Monolith, right? Like that one hurt way fucking more.
Yeah,
it's like that was decades of bangers.
Yeah, and just thinking about Sony's current inventory of games and service titles. They've got Helldivers 2. They've got Marathon coming. They've got those 2 Horizon games. They were working on had Bluepoint working on a God of War one, of all fucking things.
Yeah, they're doing all kinds of shit.
We've
canceled so many of them.
We've also got Fair games coming. Like
Bog Noise has a good point. The axe fell again, and it wasn't on Double Fine. So
yeah, or Sony's Double Fine Media Molecule. How is that? How are they still alive?
That's a
good question. Yeah, Medium. What do they do? What do they do?
Yeah,
they maintain dreams.
Studio, so they have
that's about it.
They have more like protections or something.
Maybe, honestly, I mean,
they've got dirt on some executive.
They've shut down. Sony's shut down plenty of British studios.
Oh yeah, London studio, specifically London studio. Like what was his name that went on his retirement tour? Jim Ryan.
Evolution.
Yeah, he did a whole retirement tour going through all the various different studios. He went to London studio, and then the next week, he announced that they're shutting them all down.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
it's a fucking typhoon. Well, there are no Hello games, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
Not everyone can be Hello games.
Not everyone.
What a fucking industry, am I right? All right. I'm gonna keep mine kind of short. Last week I misspoke in my excitement for Scream 7. I thought that was this week. That is in fact next week. Got a little ahead of myself.
Oh, but I have been at the movie theaters right now.
I am not. I am in fact not at the movie theater right now.
Oh, that explains it.
So
okay.
I have 7 more days. So, but I am very just generally excited about movies right now. I've been thinking a lot. There's a lot of stuff coming out in the next like 2 months that I'm super excited about. There's Lee Cronin's The Mummy has strangely kind of like become one of my most anticipated movies of the year. Have you seen the trailer for this? It looks.
I posted the trailer for it. Yeah, it's weird.
Oh my god, it looks fucking creepy as hell, and I'm here for it. Project Hail Mary comes out next month, which my wife is super excited for. I'm also very excited for it. But it's like her favorite book. It's the next movie from the same guy who wrote The Martian. It's the book that he wrote after The Martian. But yeah, it's highly recommend it. Very good book. Very excited for the movie. I'm also in the midst of rewatching. I'm almost done rewatching Peaky Blinders, and there's a movie coming out in March, follow up to Peaky Blinders, which is pretty exciting.
With Timothy Olyphant, right? Or what was his name?
No. Oh, Cillian Murphy.
Cillian Murphy. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Cillian Murphy. But yeah, I love that show. I'm almost done rewatching it. I had forgotten how much I like that show. And yeah, I don't know, just a lot of stuff on the horizon to be excited about. I'm actually going to the movies tomorrow to see Psycho Killer.
Oh.
Which looks
What'd
pretty
you think of the Mandalorian and Grogu trailer?
I haven't watched the trailer yet. Is it out there? Like there's like a full-blown trailer for it?
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah.
Well, I should watch that.
Yeah.
That comes out in like May. In
Fucking
fact, I saw
Martin Scorsese plays an alien in this movie.
What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my god. Okay. That's weird.
He plays one of those four-armed guys from from the Solo movie.
Fascinating. Okay. Yeah, I'll watch that trailer tonight.
I know. What the fuck?
Also, on the video game side of things, guys, Resident Evil 9 comes out next week.
That is crazy.
So that's pretty fucking wild. I'm pretty excited for that. So looking forward to playing and talking about that in the coming weeks. Yeah, a lot of stuff on the immediate horizon that I'm pretty excited about. So that's cool. So I'll leave it at that. And that's going to do it for us this week, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. If you're watching us live on Twitch, we really appreciate you spending your evening with us. You can, of course, find all of our podcasts on your preferred podcast service. You can find us in Discord at discord.gg/4Player. And don't forget, I'll be launching the new website for 4playernetwork.com on Sunday. God damn it. No matter what, I'm going to get that done. But yeah, that's it. We'll be back next week. I don't know, again, since I will not be here next Thursday, I don't know if we'll be recording on a different day or not recording at all or whatever. We'll keep you posted in Discord and on social media and stuff when we figure all that out next week. But in the meantime, be good to each other, play video games, and good night.